whatever.
Yeah, let's continue here with you and your thoughts. Barry is in Grand Rapids, Minnesota, listening to WNMT. Barry, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hey, good to talk to you again.
Hey, what's on your mind, Barry?
Yeah, well, I haven't heard a lot about it yet, and just maybe what somebody told me earlier and then what you guys just covered about it, the Vermin Supreme candidacy. I just, I wonder, and maybe I'm missing something, but I wonder what the positive is or what even the point is of covering it, because it seems like such a hopeless distraction. Is there
comedy,
something in that
dude.
story?
It's
just comedy? Is that all?
Yeah.
Because, I'll accept that. I'm saying I just don't. I see the comedy, but in terms of, where the country's at in the election and all this, I don't know. I just wondered. I wondered if there was something positive in it. But you guys did say
the positive was that he made me laugh, and
okay.
Julia,
Also,
you enjoyed him, and Mark, you enjoyed him.
He shows how sort of ludicrous the whole thing is. With his shtick on saying that I'm a politician and I'm lying to you right now, and I'd say anything.
I want to control your life. I know how you should live. Things like that.
And it sort of speaks to how everybody really knows that that's what politicians are largely doing. I agree with you that certainly there are bigger issues to be had, but Free Talk Live isn't really that big issue show anyway. We
talk about some important issues on this program, but not everything has to be serious, does
But we're not the issue of the day. We don't watch CNN and say, oh, well, this is what they're talking about. Right. Let's talk about that.
I couldn't even tell you what was in the news today. Is there anything important that happened? Let me know, Barry.
Oh, no, and I wasn't trying to say that as a slam on you or anybody. I'll probably have to cover it later. But I was just kind of wondering, if there was even that in it. And, yeah, he's showing the absurdity of things, I suppose, and then maybe there's a positive in that. But he is going to waste, overall hundreds of hours on, hundreds of radio stations and all our shows making us talk about that. I don't know, just something to think about. But, he said he's running as a Democrat. He's running as a Democrat, so in that case, it's probably an improvement in their case.
Well, actually, Vermin Supreme ran as a Republican in 2008, and this time he is running as a Democrat. And he's not making anyone talk about him. In fact, he's probably largely ignored for the most part. Odds are good you're not going to hear much about Vermin Supreme on any other talk show out there. And it's fun. He's satirical, and that's why. I like The Onion too. We'll talk sometimes on this program. We'll share an Onion piece. Are you familiar with The Onion?
Oh, yeah, I have to go around debunking a lot of Onion stories that people think are real.
That's funny.
I'm well familiar with it.
But do you consider your time wasted when you read an Onion article?
No, I don't. And that's not at all what I'm saying in this case, except for that it is something to consider that a lot of times when we're digging through the news and we're getting stuff ready, there's only so many spaces on every news website. And it seems like sometimes they do their best to fill them with as many of those kinds of things as they can, and there ends up being like 3 stories that are nitty-gritty, anything in it at all, and 2 of them you already knew about from the day before by looking at other sources, and so, one real story every day from each of these news sources. I just think that that on some level we have to be conscious of these things and how we cover and what we cover. And,
I see what you're saying. I get your critique.
You had already moved off of it. So.
Well, I get your critique regarding news. Certainly it's got some serious issues. And we were actually talking about this with Kate Delaney from America Tonight. She's the one host that bothered to give us some time today, very graciously. And we were talking about that with her where, these politicians, they're protected by the news agencies. The news agencies don't want to really hold their feet to the fire. They don't want to really ask any tough questions, because if you ask too many tough questions, if you are too, trying to hold them accountable, then they'll basically cut you off. You won't get any press releases. You won't get any airtime. You won't get any attention from
and government's so ubiquitous, it practically is the news. So if
they'll take press releases and just put their headline on them and re-release them. And so, you've got some really legitimate critiques about the news process and all that, and I think you're right on there. But on the other hand, Free Talk Live isn't a news show. It's an opinion show. It's an issues-based show. And satire is a good way to communicate to folks. To certain folks.
He agrees with that.
Yeah, right. So I just wanted it sounded like you sounded like you had a mixed message, though. But go ahead.
I was trying to make you make the point about why someone like him would do that and why we would look at it. Not that there wasn't any value in doing it. I knew it was in there somewhere. I just didn't know enough about the story, and I thought, yeah, and you guys did explain that. But as far as the media goes, yeah, you're totally right about what you say about they'll cut you off. And at the bigger level, if you get up to like networks and stuff, it's even worse because the government itself will cut you off as far as no money for the next stimulus for your network. So yeah, they're not exactly competing units. These are the same.
Sadly.
Team.
You know?
Yep, no doubt about it.
The Founding Fathers really tried.
And so anybody out there who's willing to point fun and to make fun of the system, to laugh at them and to lampoon them, I support it. I think we need more Vermin Supremes. I think we need and one of the things he didn't say in that clip was the reason why he calls himself Vermin Supreme. This is one of his taglines where he'll say something to the effect of, "I believe all politicians are vermin and I am the Vermin Supreme." And so that's why I am the right politician for the at this time in history or something like that. And so I fully support political theater. I think it's great to make fun of the state. I think it's great to poke fun at their processes and the things that they do. I mean, they're a violent, dangerous organization, and they want to be taken seriously. And they do some seriously wrong things, like they just threw a friend of mine in jail for 180 days today. Wes Gilreath out in Manchester, and Ademo Freeman is also in jail as well for chalking. So they do some pretty outrageous things. But of course, at the same time, they also show themselves. They tip their hand, show the violence inherent in the system. But if you get too serious about it, it'll drive you insane. If you take them too seriously, you will be so frustrated by their constant aggression that it's really important to to take it lightly as much as possible and to have as much fun with their system as possible, in my opinion, because few things irritate them more than people just not taking them seriously. Barry, thanks for the call. I appreciate hearing from you tonight.